about blockchain itself, but about the application of blockchain. It's no point of having a fantastic tool when you have no application, is it? So I'm going to talk about the application of blockchain and artificial intelligence in the property management and strata management industry. So through that, hopefully you can understand what blockchain could do, and then you can talk to Robert or myself or Lindy about how it might apply to your situation, like your situation. So I'm from the property industry. I'm a structural engineer by trade and a project manager by trade. So we've been in property, the building industry since 1988. Except I took a sabbatical leave of 12 years.
12 years.
12 years, and I was involved in government, if I can say that. But nonetheless, I've always had an interest in property for many years. So the company AEC, we are project manager, development managers, and construction managers. So we do construction, we do design, and we do project management. Because of that, we get into contact with a lot of property manager and strata managers. Okay, and let me tell you that some of them are really good, but most of them drive you nuts. Actually drive you crazy, particular strata manager. I have yet met anyone that lives in an apartment or townhouses that actually like the strata manager yet. I'm sure they are somewhere, but I've never met anybody that actually likes them yet. Mostly not because they are nasty people, they're just not ordinary people like you and me, but the ecosystem, the industry, the way the industry works produces unfair outcomes, mostly to the unit owners. Okay, so most unit owners believe that strata manager overcharge, and they do, but there's a reason for them to overcharge. Okay, and I'll talk about that later. So we have decided about 12 months ago to change that. Doris was the driving force behind it. Doris wanted to get involved into the property management and strata management business. Now we got to understand that we already got involved in the property industry from the beginning, like looking for sites to do a bit of development, do project management, apply to the council, do the design and do the construction. We've done a lot, so we got to stop somewhere. So in the past we stopped when the building is finished. We hand over to property manager. You can manage it. We give it to strata manager. You can strata manage it. We don't want to touch it. But because of the industry, we are forced to do it. I had a conversation with Doris and said, Doris, I understand you are upset about it. You want to change it, but what are you going to do differently? I mean, sometimes we get upset about something that we want to get involved in the business, right? But what are you going to do differently that would produce a different outcome? If you're going to do exactly the same thing, why do you think you're going to produce a better outcome? You're going to be exactly the same problem, producing exactly the same issues. So, and we decided that there are opportunities for technology to change the industry. And two technologies we identify which can be utilized to change the industry for good, and is artificial intelligence and blockchain. So we formed a company initially called StrataNest. You can Google us. StrataNest is a company that we formed to produce 5 services: body corporate management, development management, property sales, property management, and caretaker management. It is in the body corporate management body corporate management, property management, and caretaker management that we're going to have some fundamental changes to the industry. So in order to support the changes, we have a company called Property Lab AI. The technology company that we have formed is to provide technical solution to the challenges facing the property industry and the body corporate industry. Our mascot, it's Poppy. I'd like to introduce you to Poppy. Poppy is our artificial intelligence expert in property sector. Okay. This is the existing ecosystem of the property management and strata management system. The moment that when a apartment or a townhouse being created, when the title is being issued, by law, a body corporate is formed. By law, you have no choices. Okay, so instantly when the title is being issued, at that instant, a body corporate has to be formed, And within that body corporate committee has to be formed. Right? And the members of the committees are owners of the scheme, the owners of the strata title scheme. Let's pick, for example, there's 100 apartments in there. So a scheme has been formed, 100 owners individually are voting members of that committee. We all understand that. So, but there are some problems within the body corporate committee. Number one, people don't want to be on it. Most people, unless they have absolutely nothing else to do, they don't want to be on it for 3 reasons. Number one, they have no time. Unless you retire, and even if you retire, unless you've got absolutely no other interest, you don't want to be on it. Number two, you might want to be on it, but you have no experience in property management or strata management. You are a doctor, perhaps. You are an artist. What do you know about property management? What do you know about body corporate management? Nothing. So you don't want to get yourself into trouble. So you don't know, it's not for me. But the most important reason is this, number 3. There is absolutely no incentives for you to be on it. You don't get paid. You can't get paid. You have incentive that you are a property owner, right? Besides that, you have no other incentive. You don't get paid. You get some cake, some coffee. So you have no time, you have no expertise, and you have no incentives. So therefore, most body corporate committee engages external people to do their body corporate management work. An industry has been formed. They are body corporate managers. They charge you and to help you to manage your scheme for you. Okay, this product is a product of convenience and necessity, not by law. This is by law. This is by a management contract. Now, if you have a big scheme like 100 apartments, you also have a caretaker on site. If you don't have a big scheme, you will have property manager off-site that manages the property for individual owners. So that's the ecosystem. This is a problem within the industry. There are some common, what we call pain points or challenges, okay? So, for example, body corporate legislation are actually quite complicated, okay? And to make it worse, different states have different laws and regulation governs body corporate managers. And there are a lot of big companies, the big 4 body corporate managers are buying up all the small ones, so there are less and less competitions. And it's very high turnover in their staff because it's a very boring job. People growing up and complain about dogs and noise and parking and all these things all the time. All right. So on average, do you know how many properties a body corporate manager manages on average? Have a wild guess.
50?
50. I mean individual lots. Okay, not
10.
Keep going. Individual lots.
Wow.
200.
No, keep going.
1,000.
1,000.
Oh my God.
On average in this country, a body corporate managers manage 1,000 properties. Okay, 1,000. So and each one of them, not all of them has problem. Not all of them, but when they have problems, it's very tedious. So in terms of property management, they also have their own unique problems as well. Okay, so you need a trust account and also very high turnover in the property management business, and I'll explain that later. There are some of the problems that we need to deal with, but the fundamental problem of the industry is not about expediency. So now on the market, you have some people creating apps to help you to manage your property easier, which is good, right? So for example, you can call for a Sparky easier, you can call for a plumber easier, you can manage them easier. That's fine. It's better than nothing, but fundamentally, they're not resolving the issue. The issue is knowledge retention, because you might have Robert is the property manager or the body corporate manager of this property. He's very experienced, right? It's all here. The moment he's sick, the moment he move on with his life, whatever happens to him, you lost that knowledge. Okay, so that's the problem. The second problem is in the industry, we got a situation where body corporate manager tender for job with the lowest fee they could. Okay, they go in and $200 a lot, $180 a lot. So you lose money on that. Honestly, if you go and tender for, unless it's a 500 unit apartment, if you go into a 50 unit apartment, you say $150 a year to manage each unit, you will lose money on it. But they make that up from something else. They have to. Okay, So with that low fee they charge initially, they can't afford to employ 150 robots to do the work. They employ 149 very inexperienced young person and one robot to manage it. Okay, so when you have an issue, you call up the body corporate manager. I'll tell you the typical process. A young lady answers the phone, say, and then I might give you an example and how we resolve that issue. Okay, so say Chris go back to his unit. He got 2 dogs. Okay, he just bought the units not too long ago. He went out to walk. His dog came back, waiting for the lift, and next to him there's a elderly gentleman gave him a very dirty look, and told him that only one dog, Mike, only one dog. So Chris said, hang on. When I bought the unit, I asked the agent. He said 2. So he got home and called the agent and said, no, the unit I bought from you 2 months ago. How many pets could I have? By that time, you already bought the unit, right? The agent said, oh, well, I think it's 2, but I could be wrong. Mike, you told me there's 2, right? So you said, well, the only person that can tell you is the body corporate manager. Okay? So Chris called the body corporate manager. The young lady answered the phone and said, may I have your name, please? It's Chris so-and-so. Which apartment, which scheme are you calling about? So, it's Rose Garden at Enderley. Okay, how can I help you? So Chris told this young lady the problem, 1 or 2 dogs. The young lady said, well, thank you for your call. I'll find out who your strata manager is and I'll inform him or her and he or she will get back to you. So that's all right, 15 minutes of your life, you told her the story and she took note of it. And then she sent an internal email to Doris, because Doris manages that scheme. And it said, Doris, a guy called Chris Choi is from Unit 6 of Rose Garden at Enderley. It's a problem, all right? That's another 15 minutes of her time to type the internal email. So Doris got the email the next day, have a look at it, and said, I need to find out. So Doris go to the record. Remember she managed how many units? 1,000? There's no way in the world she remembers, right? So she's going to go up and have a look, Rose Garden's here. Have a look, go back 3 years of record and found out that 3 years ago there was an AGM and it was proposed that only 1 pet allowed, maximum 10 kg. Found it. So send an email back to Chris and tell him the bad news, you've got to get rid of 1 dog. Okay, so now that whole process probably take the body corporate manager an hour and a half, and they were going to send you a bill. Well, $300, whatever. Now you're not happy to pay it, but for $300, are you going to go to court on that? No one does. So you paid it reluctantly. Everybody does. So everybody's complaining about the body corporate manager because of that. But what do? You want to change it? Is the next one going to not charge you? No, they're going to charge you the same. So because the whole industry operates like that. You go into bidding for a scheme chief and then charge you as much as they could when they're managing it. Because to change body corporate manager is not easy. It is very difficult, all right? So, and they knew it. So with our scheme, what happened is with Poppy, I'll come back to this. Same situation, Chris Kovac with 2 dogs. Somebody looked at him and said, only 1 dog. So Chris said, really? Okay, pick up the phone, contact Poppy. You got an app. Poppy answered the phone and said, hi Chris, how are you? Because Poppy knew who you are already because your phone number is registered. That's easy, okay? And Poppy also knew that you are calling about Rose Garden. Unless you want to ask Poppy up for a date, and that's the only property recorded on our system. You only have 1 property under our management, so it has to be about Rose Garden. Now, if you have multiple properties under our management, Poppy will have to ask you, which property are you calling about? Okay, verbally, okay? So you told Poppy the problem. Poppy will be able to inform you immediately that 2 years ago on 16th of July 2017, a resolution was passed, only 1 pet, maximum 10 kg. Is there anything else I can help you? There will be no charge. You pay for our subscription and that service is instant. Okay, so that's one example. And in essence, that's easy as well because it's really information in, information out. Probably just doesn't have to do any thinking except to recollect. And that's what we will do. We will read all the legislation in this country about property management and strata management. All the building code, all the plumbing code, all the S code, all the legislation, all the case studies in court and also in tribunal. We're going to read them all. Okay, it will take us a lot of money and time and we determined to do it. and then we can get the information, and then we give you the information out. Okay, so that's challenging, but it's not really hard. Okay, the next example I'm going to give you is even more challenging. So rather than information out, probably it's actually going to think and give you recommendations. So that's our target. So 2 weeks later, you got rid of one dog, Chris. I'm so sorry, you need to get rid of your dog. But you got one dog now. Okay, you walk your dog back. You're waiting for the lift again, and you smell gas. You smell gas. Oh, so what happens? You pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Poppy, I smell gas." And Poppy will say to you, I said, according to the emergency code of Queensland, you have to inform the fire services immediately, which I have already done that for you, Chris. Now, while Poppy is talking to you, he's already contacted Queensland Fire Service and said, "We got a problem here," okay, which is not hard to do as well. But what happened next is hard. Poppy will also tell you that you need to exit the building immediately. Please do not use your phone and get out. If you have any loved one, go outside and call them. Ask them to use the stair, and that's still easy. The next part is fun. Okay, Poppy happened to know from our record, from our database, that Chris, you are not a brain surgeon, you are not an artist, you happen to be an engineer. Not necessarily a gas engineer, but an engineer nonetheless. So therefore, you got a technical head screw on. Okay, so Poppy will say this to you. This is how we ask Poppy to say, said, "Chris, only if you so wish to, there is a gas valve 3.2 meters to the right-hand side of the lift. It's locked, and the number lock is A165. Open it, turn the valve anti-clockwise, would have stopped the gas. Only if you want to." Now that is doing exactly what you and I would do if we answer the phone. If you answer the phone, you happen to know that I'm an engineer, you would do exactly that. That's what we intended to do. So this is and how this is the AI part, but the blockchain part comes in. Okay, the blockchain part comes in serving in probably 3-4 areas. Number one, Robert will tell you a little bit more about blockchain, and if you really need to understand the fundamental of blockchain, you need to talk to Robert about what is distributed ledger, what is P2P trust, what is transparency. All these are elements of blockchain, why we use it. Okay, it's not today. I mean, I can do that for about 45 minutes. You don't want me to do that, but take it for granted that the reason why we use blockchain is safe, is transparent, is a high level of trust between P2P. Okay, it cannot be, any record cannot be altered, and it's a digital exchange. So we use blockchain for a few purposes. Smart contract. Right? For example, we sign up an agency agreement, smart contract. We lease our property, smart contract. We engage a plumber, smart contract. Okay. Verification of anything, payment, certification, insurance. Say, for example, there was a case in the UK. The property managers check the insurance currency of the electrician. Okay, but you don't do it every time you call the electrician, right? You check it once a year or something, right? So, and they've been very good. Some of the property managers never checks it. So, at least this one does, but he doesn't check it every time you call a Sparky to do a work. So he put it in his own record that I'm going to call this Sparky about insurance in December. Okay, so came December, he's busy. So there's an issue on site. He called the electrician. The electrician went there and fixed something. After he's gone, the tenant was electrocuted. All right, so all hell break loose. Okay, so who's to be blamed? Or clearly the electrician to be blamed. Okay, but he's got no assets. He's gone belly up. So apologize profusely, but what can you do? So hang on, who has the money to pay the poor family after this? So the electrician hasn't got the money. He's gone belly up. Let's go and look up the owner. The owner said, "Well, I entrust the property manager to do that." Sure, but they have duty of care, which is true. So go to the property manager. Property manager says, "Well, he's a licensed electrician. If you can't call a licensed electrician and trust them to do the work, what could you do?" It looks pretty good until somebody discover that insurance of the Sparky has lapsed for 2 days. So therefore, they nailed the property manager and said, "You should have only engaged licensed and insured tradies," which is correct. So they claim on the insurance of the property manager, and the insurance of the property manager has to pay. Unfortunately, all right, but with our system, with blockchain technology, you could not do that. You could not engage a electrician unless the insurance certificate is current at that second. At that second. In fact, the way that we want to structure is when we call out for submission of prices of, say for example, I need to do this work, 5 electricians will get the same job at the same time, and it's up to you how much you want to submit to it. And if your insurance is not valid, you could not even submit your quotation. You will come up flashing in your eyes in red and say, sorry, cannot do that because your insurance has just lapsed. That also helped the Sparky as well. It's not the responsibility of the customer to make sure that you got current insurance. It's actually your job to make sure you got current insurance for able to do the job. And just give you one example of blockchain technology is to enable us to instantly verify payment, certificates, qualifications. On top of that, say for example, how many of you actually own properties? Okay, so say you rent out your properties, you get paid once a month. At best, you get paid once every 2 weeks. That's the best in this country. Every 2 weeks you get paid, but most of you get paid once a month. All right, so once a month, the property manager collect all the rents, sit down on Sunday afternoon, one day, which they never like to do, is to reconcile all the accounts, pay people, pay themselves first, of course, the 8%, pay themselves, pay the Sparky, pay everybody, and then whatever left over, transfer to the owner. Am I right? Okay, with blockchain, we are able to verify payment, and therefore, it is our intention to pay property manager within half a day when we receive the money. So we are able to pay faster than current situation allows. Okay, so so in terms of what we could do, the solution to this, I should finish very quickly, okay? So we are able to process data automatically using AI and blockchain. It's transparent, it's totally transparent, okay? So we are available 24/7 because property doesn't sleep, okay? It's 24/7. One of the most common problem for a strata manager is that the owner go home on Friday afternoon after work. Like tomorrow night, you finish work, get home, your car park has been occupied by some neighbor's party's guest. It happens every single Friday and Saturday. So you get upset about it, but you have no idea which unit, right? You only got the license plate, so you contact your body corporate manager. But after 5:30, good luck. So you left a message. You're lucky they call you back Monday, if not next Friday. They call you back. By that time, the car is gone. What are you going to do? Nothing. But with our system, in the future, when it's fully developed, property will be there 24/7, and we have cameras on site. We will send, in fact, we will send infringement notices to the owner of their car automatically. Depends on the body corporate rules. We might even organize a tow truck automatically. So you don't even have to deal with it. Okay, so that's what we intended to do. Available all the time. Our technology and our application applies not just to Australia, but also to. But this is all the AI technology that we're going to use. Sorry, I'm probably a little bit sensitive here, so I'm not going to show you too much. Sorry, commercially in confidence. So our applications is obviously Australia, Singapore, UK. Hong Kong immediately because it's the same system, British system. Modification to suit America. So we have global expectations. Okay. So roadmap. So I won't talk about roadmap. It's really we got probably another year and a half to 2 years to develop this. We have issued a digital coin called Strata coin. That's the coin. That's the symbol of our coin. Okay. It's a house with money inside with all the blockchain technology surrounding it. So we have already issued the coin, but we have not released the coin yet. Okay, so the timing of that is depends on expert advice from Professor Lee. So in terms of our customers, Ray White is our customer. Ray White is already signed on to it, and StrataNet is obviously our customer. I'm pleased to advise you that Remax has actually contacted us, and Remax want to use our system. Okay, and that's how we going to this divided area, we're going to have a franchise system to run this. So we're glad that Railway and Remax, not the head office, but some of their branches, are willing to be our guinea pig. Because we see a lot of property managers actually coming over to want to be not just a property manager, but also body corporate managers. Because to them, and I since realized that to them, it's not just about picking up extra fees, it's about having one less party to deal with. And property manager usually know the property much, much, much better than a strata manager. Because a strata manager only goes there once or twice a year, where the property managers are around the corner and goes there a lot of the time. So that's probably all I want to say. And I hope that in the not too distant future, you get to hear from Poppy a lot, not from me. Okay. Thank you.